How exactly does a 23-year-old clan leader, starting with just a tiny following, end up completely reshaping the map of the world for the next 6 centuries? Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into the historical source material to uncover the incredible rise of Osman Ghazi, and we're going to see how this colossal empire was built literally from absolute scratch.
If we look at his timeline, the first thing you'll probably notice is just how insanely compressed his rise actually was. He was born in 1258 in the town of Sogut to ertugrul Ghazi and Jaime Sultan. By 1281, he takes over clan leadership at the incredibly young age of 23. Flash forward to 1299, and he's officially recognized as an independent sovereign, eventually passing away in 1326 in Bursa. It's just a wildly rapid ascent from being a young rider in Anatolia to becoming the founding sovereign of a massive, world-altering empire. All right, let's jump straight into part 1, the young clan leader. To really wrap your head around this massive empire, we first have to understand the guy who laid its foundation. The historical texts describe Osman Ghazi's character as fair, brave, and gracious. And honestly, by fair, they mean he was incredibly just and equitable. And he didn't just talk the talk. The texts show us his immense generosity in action. He was known to actively help the poor, sometimes literally taking the clothes off his own back to give to someone in need. On top of that, every single midday, he'd provide a lavish meal to everyone in his house. His leadership wasn't just about power, it was deeply rooted in community and just profound personal generosity. But let's be real, extreme generosity alone isn't going to build you a world empire. Osman Ghazi was also a fiercely brilliant writer and an absolute master with a sword. It was this really unique combination of top-tier physical capability and deep graciousness that led to him succeeding the leadership of the Kai clan in Sogut in 1281. Think about that, taking on that immense responsibility at just 23. During this period, he also married Mal Sultana, who gave birth to Orhan, the son who would eventually succeed him on the throne.
Which brings us to part 2, Dream of the World Tree. Okay, so here's where the story takes a deeply mystical and, honestly, a pivotal turn. It involves a highly respected spiritual leader named Sheikh Idabali. Osman really valued Idabali's opinions and visited him often. One night, while staying as a guest in Sheikh Idabali's Durgah, which is a spiritual gathering place, Osman had a dream that would literally become legendary. When the sun came up the next morning, he recounted it to the sheikh, saying, "My sheikh, I saw you in my dream. A moon appeared in your breast. It rose and then descended into my breast. From my navel there sprang a tree. It grew up and turned green. It branched out. The shadow of its branches covered the whole world. What does my dream mean?"
So, Idabali listens to this, and after a bit of silence, he drops a massive prophecy. He told Osman that God had granted absolute sovereignty to him and to his descendants. He interpreted the dream to mean that the entire world would eventually rest under the protection of Osman's lineage. But there was another really crucial part of this interpretation. Idabali declared that his own daughter would be Osman's wife. This profound interpretation directly led to Osman marrying the sheikh's daughter, Bala Sultana, uniting their families and essentially setting a divine mandate for his entire rule. Moving into part 3, the dawn of sovereignty. With that massive prophecy backing him up, Osman basically shifts into high gear. We enter an era of high-paced historical conquests where that dream actually starts taking physical root. Step 1 was his crucial conquest of the fortress of Bilecik. Step 2 is where things get really official. Alauddin Kikubat, who was the ruler of the Seljuks of Rum, recognized Osman's rapidly growing power and sent him the traditional insignia of sovereignty, a horsetail, a standard, and a drum. This happened in the year 1299 AD, which pushes us right into Step 3, the final leap to absolute independence.
And once he got that official nod, the guy wasted absolutely no time. Osman made incredibly swift, decisive moves as an independent sovereign. First off, he had the Friday prayers recited in his name alone. In that era, that is a massive statement of independent religious and political authority. Second, he started minting his own coins. And third, he levied the first tax of 1 akçe, which was a silver coin. He even appointed his younger son, Alauddin Pasha, as his Grand Vizier. These aren't just boring administrative details, you guys. These are the actual foundational building blocks of a completely new state. Now, I want to quickly clear up a really fascinating misconception about his name. Osman Ghazi was actually surnamed Black, or Kara in Turkish. Now, today, we might mistakenly associate that word with something dark or negative. But according to ancient Turkoman tradition, this was actually a massive honor. It signifies someone who is exceptionally brave and heroic. In fact, historical texts like the Oghuz show us that this exact same epithet was given to other truly great, heroic rulers of the era.
And that leads us to our final section, part 4, humble and massive legacy. The foundation that Osman Ghazi laid down in Anatolia, it eventually birthed an Ottoman Empire that reigned for a staggering 600 years and expanded to span across 3 entirely different continents. The shadow of his branches truly did cover the world, exactly like the dream foretold. Yet the founder of this colossal superpower met a surprisingly quiet, very human end. He died of gout in the city of Bursa in the year 1326.
But here is the absolute craziest part. When the man who literally founded a 6th century, 3-continent superpower died, this is the entire inventory of what he left behind. A piece of horse armor, high boots, a few banners, a sword, a lance, and a quiver of arrows, a few horses, 3 herds of sheep, and his salt and spoon containers. That's it. There were no mountains of gold, no lavish palaces filled with treasure, just the meager, incredibly practical tools of a brave, heroic writer. So it leaves us with this unbelievable question. How exactly does a man who owned little more than a spoon, some salt, and a sword manage to plant the seed for an empire that would dominate 3 continents for 6 centuries? It's just a staggering testament to how fairness, bravery, and a deeply rooted vision can echo through history long, long after the founder is gone. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I'd love to hear what part of Osman's story surprised you the most, so drop that in the comments below, and I'll see you next time.